I'm Martin Kreuch, associate producer at Nordic Games, the publisher of Deadfall Adventures and The Raven. First thing we're going to show you here is Deadfall Adventures. Reinhardt, producer, also on the game, is going to demo it for you and show you how it's done. Basically, Deadfall Adventures is a first-person shooter with action-adventure elements. So if you're familiar with games like Uncharted, Tomb Raider, or films like the Indiana Jones film series, this is the kind of genre that we're looking at, Lost World, action-adventure. So on the first, it's set in 1943, so you can see you've got a lot of weapons at your disposal, more than 30 I think, with who are all very detailed, lovingly crafted, exactly as they were in the 1930s and 1940s. So the reload, everything is exactly as it was back then. But in addition to your normal gameplay, your shooter gameplay, your very fast-paced action shooter gameplay, the game also heavily focuses on exploration. Because since you want to play a character like Indiana Jones, an adventurer, you want to be treasure hunting and exploring the exotic environments, in this case Guatemala, ancient Mayan ruins. And to really make you explore the place, there are treasures hidden everywhere. You can see there's a little puzzle to get to the treasure, because you don't just get it. 7 bulbs here, 4 bulbs here, 3 bulbs here, 7 altogether, and there you go. But you gotta be careful, they're always protected with traps. They're not easy to get, because they're treasures, they shouldn't be easy to get. You don't have to get them. If you don't want to, you can also just leave them be, but if you take them, you can use them to upgrade your character. We made sure this is all part of the story world. It's not just artificially crafted on, it's really taken from the story world. So if you want if you want them, they will help you. In this case, there's a treasure map that's going to show you where they are, kind of, but you will still need, for example, your compass to actually find them. So this is the compass of your great-granddad, who I'm going to tell you a bit more about later. And this can help you locate treasures, which are, again, with a trap that will hopefully is not going to fall into the spikes. No, it did it. Perfect. So, and now you might think like, okay, I've been past the traps, but never be too sure about that. There's always a trap around the next corner. These are the environmental traps that are just going to keep you from progressing or making it harder for you, like these blades. But later in the level, we're going to show you the ones that you can actually trigger yourself to take out enemies. Of course, you have to be careful, because you might also just hurt yourself, but you can use them as another piece of your arsenal, basically. One of my favorite things, you can throw around bundles of dynamite. It's a lot of fun. Story-wise, what we're looking at, basically, since we thought like we want to give the player this kind of Indiana Jones feeling, but we wanted to not just make another copy, we wanted to go back to the actual, to what started the whole genre, and this is Alan Quatermain, the books of H. Rider Haggard. So our game is set in the story universe of H. Rider Haggard, of the Quatermain novels. You play James Lee Quatermain, the great-grandson of the famous Alan Quatermain. And like this, you basically explore the story world created by the original author of the games. You can see it's really beautiful. A lot of detail went into this game. The developer started this game like 2 years ago as a passion project, just on their own, because they thought like, why is there no first-person shooter in this genre? Because there has not one been before this. So they started this game, we saw it, thought like, oh my god, look at the detail, look at all this kind of stuff that they've been working on in their free time all the time. So we wanted to make this happen with them. Another treasure, and this is protected by a mummy. As you can see, they hate the light, so there's another piece of your equipment, is this flashlight, which has a focused mode that will drain away and then reload, and which you can use to make the mummies vulnerable. But you gotta be careful, because as most things and people in life, if you burn them, they're gonna be really, really aggressive. So the mummy, as soon as you burn them, they get really aggressive, they get really fast, and they're gonna be just in generally pretty angry. So in the game, you'll fight Arab soldiers, you'll fight Nazi soldiers, Russian soldiers, but also supernatural enemies, like this tree guy who's basically a soul trapped in this tree that is cursed forever to haunt the ancient temples of the Mayans. This is just one of the huge areas that you're gonna see. It's basically, the game is divided in 3 major big areas, which is Egypt, the Arctic, and Guatemala. So you'll explore the entire planet as you would want to do in this kind of genre. There's always levels overground, underground. They're seamlessly, you just go through the levels, explore them. It doesn't feel like you're just level by level. It really feels like you're exploring these huge parts. You're exploring Guatemala, you're exploring the Arctic. You even go into frozen temples of an ancient civilization underneath the Arctic. Another little puzzle, you have to balance out this with the skull, very Indiana Jonesy. So you can imagine to get out of this room again. Again, here you can focus on the main puzzle, which you will find at the door. Check the notebook of your great-grandfather to see if he has any hints on how to actually solve this thing. So if you get stuck, you always have the little notebook of your great-grandfather, but it's just rough hints on how to do things. It's not going to tell you very much. If you still get stuck, then your friends and your sidekick characters are basically going to chip in and show you and give you helpful hints so that you can get back to the action quickly. Again, here a little bit of exploration, and you've got another treasure. But again, this will trigger somebody to try to make your life a little harder. In terms of the balancing of the game, it's maybe roughly, I would say like 70% action, 30% puzzle solving. But it's also the combat, as you will see as soon as we get past this little puzzle, which is one of the more complicated ones towards the end of the game. Later you will see that there's also traps that can work for you as you use them. So a lot in the game is about finding your personal fighting style, whether you want to concentrate on the guns, concentrate on using the flashlight, or you want to use the traps. It's all down to you. You can even, when you start the game, customize the combat and the puzzle difficulty separately. So if you want the combat to be the more important thing, you can make it harder for yourself. One of my favorite traps, little insects attacking the mummies. Be careful that they've got something to eat when you set them free, because otherwise they'll just eat you. So again, as I said, difficulty, you can separately adjust it, the puzzles, the combat. If you want to focus on the combat, make the puzzles easier. If you want to just focus on the story, you can make the combat easier without making the puzzles easier. And also, it depends on which weapon you have for setting off traps. A switch is harder to hit with a shotgun than with a pistol, so it's all down to your personal playing style, what you're gonna do. As you can see here, if there's nobody else around, the insects are just gonna go for you, because you're just as tasty as the mummies. The game's got a multiplayer mode with your classic online multiplayer with deathmatch, team deathmatch, a survival mode where enemies will come just flooding at you until you can't hold them off anymore. And the very special mode, which we like a lot, is the treasure hunt mode, where it's not just about killing people, it's a balance of just the team with the more points wins basically, and there's various ways of earning points, and you'll have to find out with your team what's your best tactic. Do you want to focus on collecting treasures that drop when people die, or do you want to just kill a lot of your opponents? And in the end, the team with the more points wins. This is a unique gameplay mode, unique to this game. Also in the multiplayer, you'll have kill streak powers, for example. So when you play well, you will please the gods, and they will grant you powers like turning you into a raging mummy, which will strike fear into the hearts of your enemies. As you can see, it's all down to you whether you want to focus on the traps, focus on the gunplay. If you want to collect the treasures, you can collect the treasures, but get away from there soon, because they're all full of traps. Once we got rid of these guys, we can show you what you can then do with those treasures. Ooh, that hurt. And if you're not in focused mode, so the mode that you can only use for a few seconds, then you can still use the flashlight as a bit of crowd control to keep the mummies where you want them. Another little puzzle, it's optional. If you want to solve it, solve it. If you don't want to solve it, just go on. It's totally up to you. Of course, the more treasures you find, the more you can upgrade your character, which we can show here on the right. So this is a work in progress, a bit this skill tree, but you can already see it's a simple skill tree, more aimed at for you to customize your player style, not to keep you for too long from the action. The game comes out the end of September for Xbox 360 and PC. Playtime is around 10 hours, depending, of course, on how much you explore, how much time you take for yourself to explore all these vast environments, and how many treasures you're out to find. It's got a great storyline with the kind of stuff that you'd expect from the kind of genre, with a little bit of romance, a lot of action, and a lot of the twists and turns that take you across the entire globe as you try to keep the Nazis from finding an ancient artifact called the Heart of Atlantis, which you don't want to fall into the hands of the Nazis. In a place like this is a boss fight later in one of the last levels. You can see the Mayan death god that you have just angered majorly has sent all his friends to attack you. And this is one of those moments where you will quickly see that, yes, just with your gun and you will be quickly overrun. This is exactly one of those points where you will need the traps to work in your favor, because otherwise it will be very difficult to really keep an eye on all these creatures that keep flooding onto you from all the sides. You need to make sure to use the insects, the traps, the fire balls that come from everywhere. It's also very difficult for Reinhard to play this now because his character is not leveled up at this point. But as you can see, it helps. As soon as there's fire coming from the walls, then the mummies are not, then they don't overrun you as they do if you just try to kill them with the gun. Yeah, so I would say for Deadfall Adventures, that's basically it. If you want to, for the first time, experience the feeling of being an adventurer, being a treasure hunter, being your version of Indiana Jones, and explore the H. Rider Haggard Quatermain universe that started it all, then we hope you will pick up this game, a project that we love very dearly and that we are working on every day and every night to polish. The release date is on the 28th of September for PC and Xbox 360. Will be on Steam as well.